name's Dan Kildee, and until a few weeks ago I was the treasurer of Genesee County, Michigan, which is where Flint is located. I think what you'll see, and I'm listening to Mayor Bernero, I think it's occurred to me that what you'll see between the three of us is perhaps some differences, but not anything like the differences that you'll hear about as this campaign moves forward. The differences between Democrats and Republicans in this state are dramatic differences. And I actually think that you'll hear some differences between the three candidates that you see right now and maybe one or two other Democratic candidates that are likely to get into this election. I think it's critical that when we nominate a Democrat to carry the banner of the Democratic Party into the fall election, that it be someone who adheres to the core beliefs of the Democratic Party. These three candidates do represent those core beliefs, and I don't think that that will be the case in the next few days. I think you'll likely see at least one candidate join this race that does not represent really the heart and the ideology of the Democratic Party. I have long admired Representative Wheeler-Smith, and it's nice to be in your community. I've admired the work of Mayor Bernero, and I hope that you can serve as mayor for a long time to come. But I think it's important, and it's a long time coming, that the way Michigan government manages itself and invests, both in terms of policy and the way we spend money, aligns with the values of the people of Michigan. It's been a long time since that's been the case. The people of Michigan believe that we should invest in the skills of our people, that we should have strong universities that are centers of ideas, ideas that grow our economy, and that we should have vibrant places, cities, sure, but also small places, towns and villages, that represent not only centers of great living, great communities, but also a place where ideas are born. 60% of the jobs that we need to create in this state will be created in small businesses. Small businesses that are born of really good ideas from bright young people who it seems like sort of pass through our communities on their way to someplace else. If we want to grow the economy and put Michigan back to work, we have to invest in our people, and we have to make Michigan a place that is attractive to young, interesting, diverse, thoughtful, creative people. That's going to take some time, for sure. But it starts by ordering government around those priorities. And what you see going on right now is that in the name of a short-term accounting and financial crisis, we are sacrificing the very values that we all hold so dear in the name of a short-term crisis. It's exactly counterintuitive to what I think we need to do. This is the time that we need to make the decision to invest in our people and in our places. Michigan is a wonderful state. It has all sorts of beauty, and it has all sorts of cultural diversity. We need to stop beating ourselves up about that and embrace that and invest in it. I've done that. I know a little bit about how to do this. I've been in public office for a long, long time. Just until a few weeks ago, I just became the president of a national organization. It's called the Center for Community Progress. We figure out ways to rebuild America's built environment and create those interesting places.
1 minute.
Thank you. And I tell you what, I've done it in a place that is one of the hardest places in the country to do this sort of work. I figured out how to reinvent and re-engineer an antiquated, obsolete tax collection system that treated urban land, where we've made billions of dollars of public investment, as if it were some sort of disposable commodity. And believe me, if you can find ways to turn land in places like Flint into vibrant and interesting places, historic buildings that have been left alone so long that people forget they're there, into something that is now going to attract young, interesting, diverse thought leaders to a place like Flint, which is a city that in many minds has been simply forgotten and left behind. I've figured out how to do that. Those ideas not only are working in Flint, but they're working in cities and counties all across the state of Michigan, and now being employed by people all across this whole
Time is up.
And that's the end of my story. Now, I'll take your questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Stu. Thank you all for joining us this afternoon. I'm Alma Wheeler-Smith. I'm the state representative from the 54th District. This is it. Well, not quite. This is Kathy Yanger, the eastern part of the county. It would be nice if I knew where I lived. I grew up in the political process, and my parents were leaders in the civil rights movement. And I learned at a very early age the importance of public service and the opportunity that that public service creates for us to make change in the state. And I certainly learned how to make change as I grew up. When we would come home from school, if our grades were good, we would sit around the dinner table, and instead of talking about what you did in school, what did you do in school? Nothing. What did you learn? Nothing. I think we all remember those days. Instead of doing that, we talked about strategy and how to move issues. And we learned from our parents a very important value that has determined how I do public policy and how I vote. And that is that the color of your skin and the place where you live and the depth of your wallet should never influence your opportunity for a great quality of life. Michigan has given all of us an opportunity, but we haven't realized it for our citizens. And in this economic climate, what we have seen happen for the least of the brethren is a spiral to the bottom. And we need to address that. I bring a depth of experience to this race for governor that is unmatched by any of the candidates. I am, first of all, a daughter who learned the joys and stress of being a daughter in the sandwich generation. That certainly is a lesson that many of you are facing now if you're not right in the heart of it, taking care of aging parents while you're trying to raise and provide for your children. As a mom of 3, I learned the process early of negotiation and compromise, and then mediation when the negotiation and compromise failed. And that was a good school for entering the political process myself. I served on a school board, member and president of the school board, learning the education process firsthand, understanding what it means to cut busing and athletics when your dollars are tight, and you understand and have to tell your citizens, in all honesty, that the most important responsibility you have as a school board member is to deliver the academic curriculum, and they have to get their kids to school. I served as county commissioner, understanding the relationship between the state government and local units of government and what it means when your revenue sharing is yanked out from under you and you're given different responsibilities like your local county health plan to take over as a local unit because the state literally is not meeting the needs of the uninsured. I had 22 years in Lansing, 8 years as staff, and when I worked for Senator Lana Pollock, I accomplished a number of things, but chief among them was the finalization of polluter pay and the end of corporal punishment in the public schools. I served in the Senate and in the House, and 14 years on the Appropriations Committee. I know what's happened to our revenue. And I know that if we talk about reforms, but the reform we have to do in Lansing is the way we collect taxes. Dan is absolutely right. We have to invest in the citizens of the state of Michigan. We have to develop our human talent here in the state. And if we don't have the resources, all of that talk is empty.
1 minute.
So I have a 3-pronged plan for doing the tax changes that we need to have to invest. We have the capacity. Even in these terrible times, we have the capacity if we reform our tax structure. I also have a program for education. Preschool would be fully funded, and our 4-year-olds would be ready to enter K-12. And then we would have a free tuition program for our students at our public higher education institutions, whether it's VOTEC, community colleges, or our universities. And with that,